If I asked you to tell me what this car is, you might have a bit of a difficult time. Sure, it's got a Chevy badge, but in the looks department, it's a little more of a rental Malibu or even an undercover cop. The reality is, though, this is maybe one of the best sports sedans on the planet. Behind me is the 2017 Chevrolet SS, and this is its last hurrah. In terms of styling, the SS could best be described as anonymous, but you know what? That's okay. There's a bit too much chrome for my taste, but the handsome new wheels for 2017 and the quad tailpipes, which are both fun and functional, really make a difference over the 2015 model. Inside, if you've driven any GM product in the last 10 or 15 years, you'll be pretty familiar. The seats are very comfortable, nicely bolstered, and they're heated and cooled as standard. In fact, this whole car is loaded with standard features, including the old GM infotainment system, which isn't great, but does include navigation, satellite radio, and Bluetooth, among other features. There's also OnStar connectivity and several standard safety features, including blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, and forward collision alert. There's even a backup camera and front parking sensors if you live in somewhere where you need to parallel park pretty often. As American as the SS seems, it's actually built and engineered in Australia. It uses the Zeta platform from the old Camaro, and down under it's known as the Holden Commodore SS. But slapping a couple Chevy badges on it and moving the steering wheel over to the left-hand side has made this car seem as American as apple pie. The SS comes available with either a 6-speed automatic or manual transmission, and it's available only in rear-wheel drive. In addition to that, there are also some performance goodies like the dual-mode exhaust and Brembo brakes to help you get the most out of your track day. The real party piece of this platform, though, is the magnetic ride suspension, which was borrowed in its first iteration from Cadillac. Essentially, it uses a metallic fluid and some pretty clever magnets and sensors to sense road conditions up to 100 times a second and change the suspension settings accordingly. It works like magic on the highway and makes things a lot more interesting on a curvy back road. The heart of this beast is actually an old GM part as well, but that doesn't make it inferior. This is the 6.2-liter Ls3 V8, which you might remember from the C6 Corvette and the last generation Camaro SS. In this application, it makes 415 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque, and it'll run at 60 miles an hour in 4.7 seconds. It'll even do the quarter mile in a little over 13 seconds at about 109 miles per hour. Not bad for a rental car. So, by now you already know that the SS has a Camaro chassis and a Corvette engine, and Cadillac suspension. So, does that make it drive like any of those three things? Actually, yes, and it's pretty much the best of all of those worlds. The magnetic ride suspension is fantastic on the highway. It's really compliant, it's super soft when you want it to be, but dial it up into sport mode and it'll hold the road fantastically. Chevy actually made some tweaks to the SS between 2014 when it came out and this model year 2017. They actually messed with the suspension tuning, which makes it actually a little bit slower around a racetrack, but way better to drive in the corners. And frankly, I don't think I've loved an engine as much as I love the 6.2-liter V8 in this. It absolutely screams. It sounds mean and angry, even when you're in the normal tour mode. I actually have scared a couple pedestrians just downshifting when I'm cruising down the street. But when you really get on it, oh man, that active exhaust opens up and it just sounds fantastic. I have to say, I'm gonna miss this car. I wish it wasn't going away. As revelatory as the SS is to drive, maybe the best thing about it is the value that it provides. Everything you see on this car, from the Brembo brakes to the navigation system, comes standard. In fact, the only options you have to decide upon when getting an SS is whether you want an automatic or manual transmission, what color you want it in, and whether you want to pay a little bit extra to have a sunroof and a full-size spare tire in the trunk. So what does it cost, all included, for a car with a Corvette engine and over 400 horsepower? Actually, not much at all. Fully loaded, this thing will top out at under $50,000. That's insane value for one of the most fun cars that I think I've ever driven. And believe it or not, Chevy's so desperate to get these things off the lot, you can get up to a 20% discount at some dealerships, bringing the price of this car close to $40,000. At that point, I don't know why you're not speeding off to the Chevy dealership right now. This, unfortunately, is where I get to the bad news part of the review. Chevy's actually closing down their operations in Australia, which means they're not building the SS anymore after 2017, and they don't have any plans for a replacement model. That means that this SS behind me and all the other ones that are on dealer lots right now are the last ones that you can buy. So if you're even thinking about it, I beg you, please go out there and just do it. This is one of the best sports sedans ever made, and Chevy never really gave it the chance to fly that it deserves. They could have given it any other name like Super Sport, or even called it the Impala or Malibu SS, and it would have been better than just the 2-letter badge. But regardless, I like this car so much that it doesn't matter to me. You're gonna miss it when it's gone, and I know I will too. Well, that's all for now. I'm Brian with the Daily News Autos, and we'll see you next time.